Hello. Welcome back. I can't believe it goes by so fast. So, this is episode 9, Lucas Bouchard chat. And I'm a fan of myself. I'm a fan of my eyes because they're not crying or tearing up. My eyes are just sweating. Harry Styles said that once when he got emotional. Anyway, um, I don't know. Poor Lucas in this episode. I was feeling for him. I was feeling for him. I really was. So, hello, everyone. I see you're all popping in. Constance says, hello, Lucas lovers. Will Edie return to Hope Valley or will Lucas tell her how he really feels? Oh, what do you think? Is Lucas going to win the girl back? So I have a question, just taking into consideration before we jump in, just the Lucas parts. Just that's what we're here for. What would you score it on a scale of 1 to 5? How did you think it, overall was? Just his character in general. What did you think? I'm curious. I put it as a 3.5 originally. I might boost it up to a 4. Oh, Lillian's saying 3.5. That's what I had said. I might boost it up to a 4 after I've watched it again. Oh, someone here has a 5, a 4. Carrie has a 4, another 4. I think I might boost it up after I watched it again and I got to see him outside of just the conversations with Edie, just interacting with the community. But so I want to highlight a few things and okay, 4, perhaps a 4. His hair was a 5. Yes, and he's cut it. I noticed that it's a little on the short side. Of course, he looked very handsome, didn't he? Okay, so let's just jump in. So that first scene, when Lucas is in his office and Lee enters and says, Governor, could I have a minute of your time? How many of you talked to me about this? How many of you were like, when did it become Lucas's office again? Because remember, technically it's Lee's office, and then they stored a bunch of junk in it, and then they had to take that junk out. He's been using it, but now it's just like it's his office, right? When was it that Lee doesn't have that office at all anymore? Was there ever like a big conversation about that? I don't know. I'm just curious about that. That just struck me. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, isn't it ironic that Lucas has been in Hope Valley this whole time? And I know why, because of all the stuff with Benson Hills, and it's just more comfortable for him. We really know why, because of budget reasons, I guess. But now Edie is in Union City. She left because the only reason why she was staying in Hope Valley was really for him, and then she got that opportunity. So she's in Union City, he's in Benson Hills. I'm not Benson Hills, in Hope Valley. Do you think they might do an episode, and it'll annoy me if that's what the whole episode is about, where they're missing each other? Like he goes there to see her and she comes there to see him. You know what I mean? And what do? Meet in the middle on the train. Remember when they met on the train before? I hope that doesn't happen. That would annoy me. Okay. Nikki. Nope. As a matter of fact, when he came back, he was like, I don't have, remember, he didn't have an office. Remember, he had to go use a table because Lee was mad and all. He had to go use a table and share a table in the cafe. And then finally, eventually, he got the office back because they had stored all kinds of stuff in it. I think a lot of it had to do with those crates and stuff. And but now it's just automatically his again, which I think is funny. Yep, he's never used the office. He asked Lee for permission, yes, to use it after the sale. But no, that's just not how it. You do remember when he didn't have an office after the sale, he came back and there was nothing for him. He had to share a table with Edie in the cafe, and then eventually he got the office. So it's really Lee's office. But now all of a sudden it's not. Like Lee is asking him, may I come in if the governor isn't so busy? I just thought that was funny. Yeah, gosh, I hope not, Roxanne. Maybe she will end up working with him. Oh, I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to get together. But I was just saying, are we going to have another episode where they're like missing each other? You know what I mean? Because she's where he should be, and she left Hope Valley and he's in there. I don't know. I just thought that was ironic, like just different. Okay, when did Lucas find out that Edie was gone? Who told him? How did he feel about her being gone? I'm disappointed on the fast forward to him calling her for a favor. Well, I'm not, because you can't put every single thing in the storyline. I mean, there's a lot in the storyline, and I mean, she left and he noticed she wasn't there when he probably went to go talk to her. He's small town, they told him, and they just jumped into the conversation. I'm not upset by that at all. Okay, so they're having their conversations. They kept doing those whole jinxy things. But I wanted to show you what I found intriguing was how they went about this, incorporating both Ned and Florence. So this is her, where she's like, she's so invested in this relationship for them. She's like cheering them on. She's like hoping for, waiting for them to get together. And you see that moment of, should she take the headphones off? Should she put them back on? Should she listen? And of course we know she listens. I mean, she hunkers down with a blanket and some tea. And as the storyline moves on, I thought this was interesting when Lucas basically pours out his heart, and he's like, is this too late? I read a book and it's about a time machine, and I wish I could go back in time, and blah blah blah. And she's just like, right. So I find that they're all, when they hang up the phone, like there's the they show her, Edie's disappointed face. You show Lucas's sad face, and even Florence. She's like feeling for them. She's us. She is us. You know what I mean? As we're watching this unfold, which I thought was really cool. And when he first talks to her, I'm going back a little bit in their first conversation, and he says, you did, are you going to accept? And she says, I did accept. So now he knows, okay, she's there. So that's why when, like, it's like hitting him. And I love the part where he has to meet up with Edwin and Daisy, and she's given these campaign ideas, and he's like, yeah, no. And he says the kiss of death, he's trying to tell Edwin the kiss of death would be me not governing and doing what I should for the people. And then he doesn't waste time. He won't like hold her up again and forget about her. And he runs, watches the time, 5 o'clock, they say. And that's when we know from 5 o'clock all the way to sunrise, they spent the night together on the phone. Now, here's what I think is funny. In comes, with his new little mustache, in comes Ned, and he sees that his wife is still there. And he goes, were you there all night? And I'm thinking to myself, why are you surprised to see her? Don't you sleep in the same bed? Like, that was odd to me. Like, he didn't know she was there all night long. You were here all night. Well, didn't you miss her in your bed? Don't you sleep together in the same room or in the same house? I thought that was funny. All right. So yeah, she's hurt. She's like, not not going to go there, but we know that that's not true. She's just got to, he said he needed time, and she doesn't know how much time. She was all in and excited, and so she's doing her thing. And of course they're just dragging it out, and eventually we'll see them get together. I'm sure they'll kiss. I'm just interested in, I know that Chris McNally, I'm not saying anything against Miranda, but Chris McNally is a very good scene kisser, like a screen kisser, just like Aaron Krakow is. I think that's why those two were just fantastic together. Not everybody has that skill. I think Warren Christie is like way up there. I don't care who that man's kissing on screen. He always makes it look wonderful, no matter who his partner is. And Chris is like that. And I'm wondering how his kiss is going to be with Edie. I want it to be smoking on purpose. Oh, I have a piece of innuendo that I want to talk about, and I'll get right to that in 1 minute. And I just want to see what you all have to say because people are saying lots of stuff. So this was a unique episode in that we saw it really was the most part of it, big chunk of it was about about that one story with LJ, and then they peppered in two other, I thought, mini storylines, which would be the school with the kids and designing the school, and then Lucas and Edie, and they kind of made them intertwine, which I thought was interesting how they wrote it. But I was glad that we got Lucas as a separate storyline and not just nothing, you know? All right. I thought the same thing about not knowing that Florence wasn't in bed. Oh, good. I'm not the only one. I was thinking Ned must have gone to bed really early and is a sound sleeper not to know Flo was there or notice she wasn't anywhere around when he got up. Oh, okay. When Florence, he better apologize. I'm not sure what that means. I think you could come back and tell me I'm missing something. Edie would love her credibility if Edie would lose her credibility if she left her new job. I don't expect them to be in the same place anytime soon. I think he's going to have to go to Union City, right? She could come for a weekend. A festival's coming up. Good to hear Lucas being decisive and listening to the right voice. Yes. And I'm going to talk about a couple of those things in a minute. Everyone, I missed what Edie's response was after Lucas asked if it was too late. I didn't hear what she said. Anyone remember her words? She said something about the past. Like it's not good to live in the past or something, or something like that. I'm sure one of Carrie, she's good at remembering that. She'll put that up for you. Love tonight's writing. Reminds me of the original Nosy Florence on the phone. Yep. Memories of her past with the key characters we love, Lucas and Lee, in more friendly conversation. Yes. And I have to agree with all of that. And they peppered in certain things. So this is some of the things that I like that they peppered in. One of the things was when Lucas was we know he loves books. And he mentions he read a book about a time machine. And then when he was, sorry, I know that makes a loud noise, my paper rattling. When the kids are making their presentation and Rupert says he wants to put a library in the center of the school, and then he tells how meaningful it's been to him, which sounds like Lucas at his age. And they pan to Lucas's face and he's like, he gives a nod to it, like it resonates with him, which is, like Lucas Bouchard at your service. They've been peppering in little things. They put out the time watch, like the not the time watch, the why can't I remember what that's called? I want to say stopwatch and time watch, and I can't think of what the heck it is, but you know what I mean. The watch that Elizabeth gave him and had that engraved. So they're picking out little things and peppering little things here and there, which I love. Pocket watch, that's it, which I love. Okay. Thought that Lee and Lucas might have that magic conversation tonight. Yeah, I don't know when that magic conversation comes because unless they had this fantastic conversation and it got cut down to what we saw, because at the end he's like, I'm being bold and bold out and different, and he's like, Lee kind of gives him a hint, you could still do that, like go after Edie. He doesn't say go after Edie, but he uses that innuendo. And Lucas is like, I think that might be too late, which we know it's not. The ring is still elephant size. All Nathan has to do is ask Lucas. I don't know, but that's not for tonight. I loved that Lucas referred to the time machine. Yes, by H.G. Wells. So did I. Published in 1895. Love when they support with actual history. Yes, me too. I love that too. I thought it interesting that the building the kiddos' design was way beyond what was expected and way beyond affordable. Yes, but then they've got that money, which I thought was clever. That's the other thing. 2 wins. That's what he was saying. There are 2 wins. Lucas goes up and he's like seeing them fill the water tower. And he's like, glad to see that project's on schedule and how wonderful, they mentioned it's going to be for the town. And then Lee comes up and he talks about just got a call from Edie and the school's a go. And there it is, 2 wins. So he's got some wins. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right. Yeah, of everybody saying, "Where did Ned think Lawrence was?" Yeah, so are we. I mean, so am I. And if you go back into the interview, you can see where he says it. And I'm thinking to myself, where is it? And it better not have been at the end because he says it's a heartfelt one. So Hmm. Yeah, I know, Margie. I got pocket watch. All right. Thanks, Carrie. Hearing that, it sounds like she is giving up on him, or maybe he's still hurt. He is still hurt. I think he's hurt. I think it's obvious that he realized he got like cold feet and made a rash decision and a mistake, and now it has consequences. And he's like, okay, I told her that I needed time, but now he wants her to be in his space and not on the phone. So she's like, well, what do you want? I put it all out there. She was all in his space, touching his tie, all excited. Basically, she kept putting it out there and he didn't, which we know why. But that's why she's like, yeah, you come get me now. You come chase me. I'm not doing it. I'm going to do my career and my thing here. Right. It's going to have to be him. He's going to have to do some grand gestures, which he's good at. Bring them. You know what? He's perfect at grand gestures. They had to make some silly, fun of it a couple seasons ago, but Edie would love it. So do it. Chris is a great scene kisser, as is Warren Christie. Yes, yes, yes. Telephone operators aren't supposed to. Yes, they're not supposed to get in on conversations, but you know how Florence is. And she's been rooting for them, and she's so fascinated with their love story. So I was referring to when Florence said to Ned, is about to apologize, or he should. Yes, yes, thank you, Robin. I knew there was something there. It's okay. Yes, and I love that. And then she fell asleep and she never heard it because there wasn't one. Edie told Lucas, don't think so much about the past. Thank you. I like the story tonight was primarily about LJ or Lucas and Edie. It was. They had like a big they advanced that storyline forward. So I want to talk to you about a couple of things before I check in with all your stuff. I think I said what I wanted to say. I love how they were putting the little jinx in to show how they're so like in tune with each other. They can kind of read each other's like intellectual minds, which I liked. And I told you the other little things that they peppered in. The scene moved. It looked like it didn't go anywhere, but it did, because he's basically asked her, could we try this? I want to do this. But he needs to be, it has to be more. And I think it will get there. And you could see, Edie without her glasses. That was the other thing. We get to see her. Added to it. Edie had her no glasses on. Oh, I didn't put that in there. You could see it here in this one. But when she first was talking to him, she didn't have any glasses on either. So that was cool to see that. And Miranda did say she does drop those glasses a little. You get to see how gorgeous her eyes are. But going over to here, I wanted to point out that this has nothing to do with this episode, but it does have to do with the last episode. And there's a podcast, and you may all listen to it. I'm not sure. They used to go by Deck the Hallmark, but they have their own like little state radio station kind of thing going on and stuff. And it's Bramble and Jam or something like that. And it's, the three that are on there, and they say, I like Hallmark. I love Hallmark. I hate Hallmark. And then they have a whole conversation, but they do it for When Calls the Heart. And I linked it in our Chris McNally fan group because they reviewed last week's episode. And I had said it would have been great if they put Lucas up there to do the kissing, right? Well, they said it too. And they talked about it at length, which I loved. And then along comes on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, get on it and go watch this. And you may have already seen it. It's Hardy, HEARTIE .WCTH. And I don't know exactly who this is, so I will just call them they. They made a video, and they're good at this. They took clips of Lucas and Elizabeth in the past kissing, and you can hear the little bits of dialogue from the past clips. And then they meshed it with how everybody's standing there, and they're doing that pan in the last episode. And you can see everybody's reaction standing there looking at the couple that's, kissing it. And then when you go to see who it is, it's Lucas and Elizabeth. It's so good. They did such a fantastic job with it. I love it. It's worth a watch. And it's worth a listen to. And if you wanted to skip straight to the Lucas and Elizabeth stuff, go towards, it's like the last quarter of the podcast episode with Deck the Hallmark guys. So Jackie's in it too. So she hosts with them when she does When Calls the Heart. Okay. So yeah, I'm done yapping in your ear. Those are my things that I wanted to add. Not much. I want to see what you all have to say. I was bothered that Lucas and Elizabeth cold handshake was so matter of fact. Did they shake hands? I don't know if I know she said, you mean the one where she was standing, she said governor, and he walked away after he was with the kids. Did he shake her hand? I didn't know he shook her hand. I thought he shook the hand of Rupert and then went on. Yep, he got some wins. Lucas heard what she said. I think it was another message to fans to look forward and stop complaining about the past. Oh, I didn't see that one. No, to me, that's like something you could have and have said. That wasn't like so out there blatant. I don't think that. Telephone number, yes. Yep, that conversation is coming with them as Lee is trying to convince Lucas to not give up on Edie, even at the water tower scene. Yes. It was hard to hear what Edie said. Okay, yes. Yes, she does. I don't know how many details, but yes. First time we have seen Florence snooping on conversations. Remember how Fiona had to keep telling her to hang up when the call connected? Yes. But we saw how she is invested. She and Molly have been watching them going on and on. So you're right. She's in the wrong, but kind of interesting. Bramble Jam. Thank you. I was just thinking about a grand gesture, but Lucas can take time. Absence can make things clearer or make one appreciate the next chance. Very good. I listened to the podcast. They are correct. Lucas would not have messed up the kiss. I know. Some things that annoyed me. Okay, Jan. First, that Nathan seems to be at every meal. Okay, Jan, I'm sorry. That's tomorrow. Remember what you wrote and please share it tomorrow. That would be great. I would love to hear that. I don't think he shook Elizabeth's hand. He didn't. He didn't shake her hand at all. I'm pretty sure he shook the young man's hand. He was excited because he was like, the governor. And Ope was like, yeah, I know the gov, Oh, he's gonna take our drawings. Yeah. Elizabeth shook Lucas's hand. I didn't see that. I'm sorry. I'll have to go back and pay. And I've watched it on the screener so many times. I'll have to go back. I really thought he shook the hand of the other people. And she said, okay, Governor Biden. He walked past them. Not the other people, the young man. Okay. Edie has to protect herself too. She did put herself out there, which I think is realistic writing. They could have just mashed it all up, and instead, they're making them go through the hoops and the loops. And don't you think that would be normal? And I have to tell you, I know that they pay attention to what the Lucas fans have said about that relationship, because when we had Miranda on, she sees it and she says she finds it interesting for those who are for it and who are against it because it makes for good television. She didn't say it exactly like that, but in our interview, she said something along those lines. So they pay attention. So I'm sure they took that into consideration and they're trying to move the storyline along because they seem to want to sag. All storylines seem to kind of sag in the middle for them. They have a hard time with that. That's why I don't like it when they're trying to make one storyline that just keeps on going. They've been doing that in the past 3-4 years instead of the way it used to be. So we got this kind of sag. Okay. I honestly don't want Lucas to go running after Edie. He just finished telling her he needed time. Now he's ready. Well, that's what I mean. That he's listen. That's why Edie's like, what? That's Edie's you, what you're saying, Lillian. But what happened is that he said he was afraid, and then he's supposed to have listened to what Mike said about time, and then he reads the time machine and he realizes he was cold feet, and now he wants her to try again. So yeah, Edie's I feel like what you're saying is how Edie is feeling. So we'll see. Um Have I done the interview with Chris and Janelle about nope, nope, nope. Hallmark tends to set things up at the last minute, or maybe they won't even, who knows. It was an invitation that I received, and it was several. It wasn't just that one. There was a whole list of them. But nope, that's out of my control. I mean, I can ask, but it won't happen when they are setting them up. They tend to say no for individual things. Lucas had to come to terms with his breakup with Elizabeth before contemplating moving with Edie. So Lee will somehow make him more. So listen, make his move made him. I'm sorry. Lucas had to come to terms with his breakup with Elizabeth. Yes, we saw that before contemplating. I'm going to assume that what you're saying is like moving on with Edie, and that Lee will somehow help him to move on. No one can help you to move on. It can give you good advice, but in the end, you have to do it. And I think that's what the writers are trying to show, the whole process, and her whole process of feeling like she's not enough because he can't get over his pain. You know what I mean? So that would hurt. And that's why she's like, you know what? I was going to stay here, and there's this wonderful opportunity. I'm going. I like that. I like that they're showing that. I do. Yeah, I think that. Um, Constance is saying perfect. She likes what Lillian's saying. Like that Edie appreciated that Lucas was honest. It enabled her to make a decision. Yep. Yes. Moving on. I got it. I think I got it, which it meant. That's okay. Lillian, he might be ready because he thought the thought of losing a chance with her is worse than taking more time. And I kind of think that's what he's feeling now. Like, it's because she was so there, and so, "I want this, I like you, let's do it." She was so there, and then when I guess in his mind, he's surprised that she just left. I guess he was hoping she'd be there while he was trying to make the decision, but now he can't have both of both worlds, and he's like, like, make a move kinda thing. It's okay that they're going through all the feels, it's good. Florence seems to be fair minded and caring. She can also be a force, maybe a helpful force for Lucas. Maybe. She would also lose her job because she was eavesdropping. All right, let me see. No, no, that's not happening. Yes, we'll be bold and progressive. I like that, Nikki. I was thinking that might happen too, especially since they repeated it a few times. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, the helium balloon. Oh, I know. All right. Just going through what everyone's saying. I don't know if anyone has anything else to add. Um, yes, I like Edie is showing her independence and making sure he is fully in versus partially with dealing with the past. Good for her. I agree. Lucas was hurt, and even though he was honest with Edie and told her how he felt, it still hurt her. I think this is reasonable because they have both been hurt in the past. Yeah. And again, it just makes more drama, right? You want to see them earn it. But I hope when we finally see it, if we do see it, I hope it's not a dud. I hope it's good. I know Chris is really, I'm not saying Miranda's not. I'm just saying I hope it's good. People got a lot of high expectations. The other thing I don't like is, why does it have to be like a love story? Why is everything just like a love story? Everybody's got to get together and it's all about, oh, do they, don't they, do they, don't they? Really? Couldn't it just, isn't there other things that we could have in there too that are just as important? That's why I wish it wasn't like all these stories took the whole, like a whole arc all season. I wish they were more like an episode or two where they're trying to solve something or someone comes to town and they learn from that experience, and then two more episodes in another block and they learn from that experience and it moves on that way. I think they're better suited for it because there's like this sag in the middle, and then we get jam time and make a movie time back to back, and take a tour on a scavenger hunt time. And although I'll talk more about that tomorrow, I'm not saying I don't like it. I don't know. I would feel better if that's the way it went. All right, where are the Canfields? Well, we did get to see Joseph. We didn't get to see his wife. She's cooking. And we did get to see somehow, I guess, Mike and Joseph were working on the water tower. Good drama, though, in this case, I hope. Yeah, I agree with you. Yes, he was. He was at the water tower. Lucas looked really handsome tonight and also showed a lot of facial emotions. He did. He did. That's why there was that like little nod. As soon as I get done here, I got to go look at that handshake thing. Liked when Edie first came to Hope Valley. Okay, let's see. Liked when Edie first came to Hope Valley and we saw her doing things with Lucas. They need to develop a friendship before they can have a relationship. Well, that's been going on with, like, that goes without saying. They've been card playing, poker playing, and having dinner together and all of that. We just don't always see it all the time. So that's supposed to be. All right. I also wanted to point this out. And I know it's like about the overall episode. In the very beginning of the episode, nobody had coats and jackets on. Then all of a sudden, people had coats and jackets on. And when I think when Nathan is something near the mercantile, you could see they have fall leaves as a like over the archway. Suddenly it became real fallish. And I'm like, so how long has Lucas been away from Capital City? Or is that what it's called? Union City? Is it Union City or Capital City? Wherever he's been away. And then how they talk about, I love when he said cronyism. And they talk about the territorial advisors and all that. They have mucked up Canadian government in so weird of a way. It's funny. Those of you that are from Canada, I wonder if you're thinking that. Now we are back to Lucas and Elizabeth, back to having that conversation. Will that truly help Lucas move on? Elizabeth does not own her responsibility in the breakup. I don't feel like Lucas. I know everybody has different opinions about this, and we can close on this one. This is my opinion. I don't want them to have a conversation because I want it to help Lucas. I want them to have a conversation for the fans because I want Elizabeth, especially since she's going to be engaged. I mean, she's going to get engaged. I want her to own up to what she did. That's what I want. I want her to, say, you know what, I was wrong, blah, blah, blah. Not because I think he needs that from her. He already knows that he's amazing. He already should know, like, he doesn't. Yeah, it's that's not what the conversation is. That's how I feel. But there are other people that, like you said, feel that way. I don't. Somebody's got to have some kind of a conversation somewhere. We heard so much about the conversation. Who's having it? And it can't be the tiny little conversation he had with Mike, although I love those two when they're in a scene together. And it can't be the tiny little conversation he has with Lee. But maybe those tiny conversations are leading up to a big one, like an intervention. Do you agree? Are you agreeing with me with the yes, they need that closure. This is what I'm talking about. I know. Who would Elizabeth own up to? Surely not Nathan. What? No, it's a conversation that she would have with Lucas. Lucas, she's have to, but not because Lucas needs her to motivate him to move on. I want her to realize or say out loud and then tell him, shows him an apology for her behavior. That's what I want. Yeah. Lucas's reaction to Fernando being in town had him acting like he had to impress Edie, which is what he did with Elizabeth. Yes. Yes. And he doesn't need to. Thank you for saying that, Kathy. Absolutely. And I think that's sinking in. And I think that's what made him act rash and ridiculous. I don't think she will ever do that. You don't think the writers will ever do that? If we say it enough, maybe they would. I think the fans need the closure that unfortunately some won't ever accept it, and that is sad. I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. All right. Tomorrow we talk about the rest of the scene, rest of the episode rather. And it's an interesting episode. I have like a lot of thoughts about it. I found it to be kind of emotional. There were some things that annoyed me. And I want to hear what annoys you and I want to hear what you love. Anybody that tried to talk to me about it, talk to me tomorrow about it. Join in. Or even if you can't join in later on, post it. People see it and then they talk about it. Um, it would make Elizabeth look bad. She looks bad because she didn't. I don't think it would make her look bad. She looks bad because she didn't. Think about that. There are more fans out there who are mad about it than if she said something. And she doesn't have to be like she's like the big baddie wolf or whatever, but she was wrong and nobody ever addressed it. And she needs to. They need to do that for the fans. Lucas told E that he wanted her to be truly happy, but she never said that back to him. Yeah. The grant proposal said something about new paths emerging. Maybe Lucas has a lot more to accomplish, new paths emerging. Maybe. That would be nice, right? Yeah, it would be nice. All right, everyone. It's time to go to bed, or at least on my end it is. I have a big day tomorrow. It's Read Across America week. Yes. Tomorrow. Tell me all the other stuff tomorrow. Thanks. Thanks for joining. Lucas Bouchard. I hope we have a lot more to talk about in the next episode.